Greetings, salutations, Eddie here. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm talking like this because I am exhausted. Today I'm going to be presenting my book review part 2 of Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, book 3 of the Dark Artifices trilogy. So if you want to check out my previous video where I reviewed this in the trilogy as a whole, it's going to be down below for you guys to check it out. So I said in my video I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And I'm still kind of feeling that way, but I'm leaning towards 3.5, 3.75. So for those who have not read Queen of Air and Darkness or the Dark Artifices trilogy, let me just give you the rundown before I jump into the spoilers. So we follow our leading character, Emma Carstairs. We get introduced to her in City of Heavenly Fire when she's 12 years old. And then it jumps 5 years later where she's the best Shadowhunter in her generation, living in Los Angeles with her parabatai, Julian, and his family of the Blackthorn family. Also, Emma's best friend, Christina, and also the mentor, Diana. So basically, we follow their adventures, and this one's sort of a darker trilogy than the Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments. We deal with some heavier topics, and so overall, this trilogy is not my favorite Cassandra Clare trilogy. My rating of the trilogy goes Lord of Shadows, Lady Midnight, and then Queen of Air and Darkness. This is my rating of the series. A couple things that I loved about it before I get into spoilers. I love the writing, I love the world building, I love the lore, the Shadowhunters and the Downworlders, character interactions. I just love it all. I just think it's such a well-written trilogy. I will say that. I think that's one of my favorite aspects about Cassandra Clare to begin with, is not just her characters, but her writing. Her books are... This particular trilogy is really long. I got a text. Whatever. Also, real quick, if any of y'all are Digimon fans, I got a new phone case. It's Gomamon. Represent. Her writing, her book, this particular trilogy, the books are over 500 pages, but the way that she writes, I could fly through them. However, Queen of Air and Darkness took me a long time to read. I do recommend it. I do recommend the whole Shadowhunter world. It is a familiar plot of, you know, secret supernatural warriors battling demons, but it's the way that Cassandra Clare writes them. It's so hysterical to me. It's so emotional. It's badass a lot of the times. She makes it her own. She makes it, you know, there are Downworlders, there are Shadowhunters, there are runes, there are seraph blades. And it's just interesting. It's not at all boring to me. To me, at least, it's not boring. It's just awesome. But of course, I'm speaking nowadays. Like, I'm popular to like Cassandra Clare, but I don't give a damn. I love Cassandra Clare. If you don't like her, that's fine too. I'm gonna get into spoilers. So if you want to continue watching this video and you have no desire to read the trilogy, then stick around. If you have read the trilogy, stick around so we can talk about it in the comments. Let me get into the things that I liked first. Then I'll get into the things that I didn't like. The things that I liked about Queen of Air and Darkness. Sorry if the camera changed a little bit. I had to pause it because I had to take care of something real quick. The writing is amazing. The world building is awesome. I'm a sucker for Cassandra Clare's writing. And then another thing that I love about this book, or trilogy I guess, is the diversity. You know, we have Christina, who's from Mexico. I believe she's from Mexico. We have Diana, who's transgender. We have Ty, who's autistic. We have Mark and Helen. And Kit, I believe Kit is bisexual. The person that I actually loved reading about, I love Diana. Diana's backstory is so well written. And Cassandra Clare said that she actually talked to a lot of transgender readers and saying, hey, I want to add a transgender character to my book. How do I do that without being insensitive? And my brother's cat wanted to join me. This is Yona, infatuated by the light over there. This is Miss Yona. She's a domestic short hair. She's beautiful. She's big. Aren't you big? Are you going to chill here throughout the whole video? Or can you say hi to my 136 subscribers? See if they like cats or not. Side note, what breed is Magnus's cat? Because I forgot. Diana, in the second book, Lord of Shadows, which is my favorite book of the trilogy, she revealed to not Mark, I think it's Gwen, that she used to be David. Then she became Diana. Can't remember the specific reason why she changed to Diana. I just think it just made me care about her more. Like, I didn't really like her in Lady Midnight, but I loved her in Lord of Shadows in this book. She was an amazing character. I love what she stood for in the book. And also, she just sounds gorgeous. And then Mark and Kieran, Mark and Kieran are amazing. I love them so much. And I'm really happy that Cassandra Clare is adding in more diversity, because she said in a book signing like years ago that she regrets not having more people of color in her books, which that's one of the aspects that's one of the only aspects that I loved about that Shadowhunter television series, is that they had people of different races playing our major characters. The political aspect of the trilogy is one of my favorite aspects, because it's just, I love political stories. I don't know why. With the Cohort and the Cold Peace, between the Shadowhunters and the Downworlders, I think that's one of the reasons why I kept reading the trilogy. Just because it's something that I was really invested in, because it's such a ridiculous thing to have. But I think that's the point of it. It's so, so, so good, though. I loved reading about it. The next 2 points are mainly towards Queen of Air and Darkness. The exploration of grief. The end of Lord of Shadows and the beginning of Queen of Air and Darkness. Livy's death. I think that was a sucker punch to the gut, because no one was expecting Livy to die. Livy's death to me was kind of unnecessary, but it was an emotional punch to the gut. And I think one of the reasons why this storyline touched me is because people deal with grief differently. So when people cry and scream, that's their way of dealing with grief. Some people shut down and they remain quiet. Some people go out walking. Some people read. Some people, cook. Some people go watch films at the theater. Well, not anymore because of COVID. People will sit down and watch Netflix. People might drink an excessive amount of alcohol. A reasonable amount, excuse me. It's just their way of dealing with grief, and that's what we explore in this book. And I think that's why I appreciated this storyline. Ty lost his twin. Drew and Tavi and Ty, they lost their sibling, and Julian and Mark, they lost their sibling. Mark took it the worst. And every time it was described that when they passed Livy's room, they felt something, and it broke my heart, really, because there was no reason in my opinion, for Livy to die. And that progressed another storyline, a major storyline between my favorite couple characters, Kit and Ty. Kit Herringdale and Ty Blackthorn are the cinnamon rolls that I want to protect. I love them so much. But Ty was pissing me off, though, because he said to Kit, after he got the amulet or the necklace from Livy's body on top of I think it's pronounced pyre, at the beginning of the book, that he was going to bring her back, and Kit reluctantly agreed. So every time a character dies and then their friend, sibling, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever, says, I'm going to bring them back, that's just asking for trouble. Because if you guys have watched Arrow, Laurel decided to bring back Sarah with the Lazarus pit. We all knew that was going to be a big no-no, because that was just asking for trouble. Sarah did not come back the same. It was not good. Same thing with this. Had he brought back Livy, I don't know what was going to happen. And even Kit and Magnus, even when they said, don't bring back Livy because you don't know what you're going to be dealing with black magic, he didn't listen. Even Magnus Bane, High Warlock of Brooklyn, said don't do it. I don't know, that was just a storyline that I hated, but then it was revealed that Kit loves Ty. And then that was probably the best outcome of that ridiculous storyline. Okay, now into the things that I did not like about the book. Buckle up and sit down. One of the major aspects, let's just get it right off the bat. This book, there's no reason for this book to be this long, okay? There's no reason. There is no reason for this book to be this long. And I understand, it's the last book of the trilogy, there's a lot of wrap-ups, there's a lot of things going on, but holy damn. No reason at all. I don't even think City of Heavenly Fire is this big. And that's the thing, too. I like when books get bigger as the series goes on, but there's a limit. This book is almost 1,000 pages long. I mean, it's 880 pages, but I'm exaggerating because that's how I roll. Here's the thing. There was so much that didn't get resolved, and so much that didn't need to be in there. Because it was like introducing new storylines in this book. Like Ty getting Livy back, the Thule storyline, and then setting up for the Wicked Powers. Why? Like, why? Let me get one of the things that Thule, the storyline of Thule, Thule, made no sense. I didn't really need it. It served no purpose for me, except for setting up for the Wicked Powers. It was just unnecessary to me. I didn't like it. I was bored with it. It took up a big chunk of the book. And then that was actually the part where we find out that Annabelle Blackthorn is referred to as the Queen of Air and Darkness. Let me get into my next point. This is so rambled. I'm just... Annabelle Blackthorn, who was revived in Lord Shadows, is on the cover of this book. She's present for 10% of this book, and she's the cover character. How can you introduce Annabelle Blackthorn, who has probably one of the most interesting backstories of any Cassandra Clare characters, and she's in the book for 10% or when she's needed? They pulled a Captain Marvel, okay? They pulled a Captain Marvel, and if you guys understand the reference, they introduced Captain Marvel in her own film. Well, introduced her Infinity War, then had her own film, and then she only has, what, like 5 or 10 minutes screen time of Endgame. I'm only referencing that not to bash Captain Marvel, because y'all know I don't like Captain Marvel character or film, but it reminded me of Annabelle Blackthorn. Annabelle was such an interesting character. Her backstory was interesting, and then she's only present for 10% of the novel, and then she's just gone. She's just gone. And I didn't feel a lot of wrap-ups. I just felt like there was so many like open ending resolutions as well. It was just it was slightly disappointing to me. Let me get into a character that I wish would have died, but she didn't, and I don't know why she didn't die. Zara Dearborn. Y'all didn't die. Annabelle died. Horace died. Y'all didn't die. I don't think I've ever wanted a character in a Cassandra Clare book to die more. And then speaking of dying, there were no major deaths. Literally no major deaths. Because City of Heavenly Fire didn't hold back on deaths. There was no major death of this book, aside from Horace, but we all knew that Horace was going to die. There was no death. I was really expecting, if I'm to be really honest, you guys, I was expecting a character like Mark or Kieran to die. Or Diego. They didn't die. Not saying that I would have loved for them to die. I'm not. Unless you're Zara. To me, for a final book, just my personal opinion, you don't have to agree with me, that's fine. If it's the last book of a major trilogy, like Dark Artifices, I want a major character to die. I'm expecting a major character to die. I just expect it, you know. For instance, Infernal Devices, Jessamine, and Will. If I'm reading a big epic trilogy like Dark Artifices, where there's battles and deaths and grief and dark tones, I'm expecting a major character to die. Nothing happened, really. The true Nephilim scene, which connects to me literally not caring about Emma and Julian. Here's the thing about why I don't like Emma and Julian together. I feel nothing between them whatsoever. For some reason, I didn't like it in Lady Midnight. I loved it in Lord of Shadows for whatever reason, and then it's just gone in Queen of Air and Darkness. And then I just feel like, if I'm to be really honest with my opinion right now, I just feel like they were together just to be a necessary couple. And it's like, I didn't see any reason for them to be together. I feel like Emma would have been a better partner to somebody else, like Cameron Ashdown. She wouldn't shut up about Cameron in the first book. Connecting to true Nephilim. Literally, Emma gets gravely wounded. Their parabatai bond got stronger. They become true Nephilim, and it was just Attack on Titan. Literally, it was just Attack on Titan. And it made no sense to me whatsoever. Also, I don't mind sex scenes in books. I really don't. But how many damn sex scenes do you need in this book? Sexual tension is real. And then the ending, I just felt really anticlimactic with it. I was really disappointed with it, to be honest. I literally felt unaccomplished. With a book that's 880 pages, literally, I felt like there was nothing for me by the end of the book. Mark and Kieran and Christina, their storyline kind of wraps up well. And then Kit leaving Ty to go train with Tessa and Jem. I just felt so angry because now you're separating the only couple that I actually cared about in Queen of Air and Darkness, and Kit didn't even say goodbye to Ty or to the Blackthorn family or to Emma. Magnus and Alec got married, which, I mean, okay. I mean, I loved it. It was a beautiful ceremony, but okay. I really should have read Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy before I read The Dark Artifices, because apparently Simon's a Shadowhunter. Changed his name to Simon Lovelace. And I don't even know how that happened, but okay. And then the epilogue sets up the Wicked Powers. Actually, this whole book is setting up for Wicked Powers. Now I have to wait a couple years for Wicked Powers. I don't mind waiting, but I'm like, I feel like I'm Cassandra Clared out at the moment. And I'm in a reading slump, which is why you've not been seeing any other book review for this month, because I'm in a reading slump. I had, what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books on my TBR, and I only read 1. So don't expect any other book review from me from this month. I'm currently reading 4 books that are not on my TBR. 4 out of 5 stars, 3.5 maybe for this book. Is it a bad book? No. Is it a terrible book? No. Is it a spectacular, awesome 5-star read? For me, no. People love this book, and I'm so happy for them. And I'm not saying that sarcastically, I promise you. Here's the thing about Cassandra Clare. She's a take-or-leave author. And for me, I love her. I will continue to support her. But right now, I'm taking a break from Cassandra Clare. Like, I'm looking at Chain of Gold right now. Chain of Iron comes out next month. I'm taking a break from Cassandra Clare right now. So that's my review of Cassandra Clare's Queen of Air and Darkness. Here it is, this behemoth of a book. Glad I read it. I'm happy that I read it. Now the trilogy is done. I don't know if I will read this trilogy ever again. Thrown Devices remains my favorite Cassandra Clare series. The Mortal Instruments is amazing. The trilogy was just good. It was just good. For me. The upside to this, 2 upsides actually. There's actual art inside. Here it is. It's actually the same exact picture that I showed in my other video. And then also on the dust jacket. This beauty. It's gorgeous. Christina. I forgot to talk about Christina. Christina's a bad bitch. I love her. So if you love this book, let me know down below. Honestly. If you loved it, that's great. I'm seriously happy for you. Is this your favorite Cassandra Clare series? Is it your least favorite Cassandra Clare series? It's my least favorite, like I said. But I'm glad I read it, though. So if you like this video, please get a big thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts. For more content, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see everyone soon in my next video. Don't know when. Deuces.